all of these new AI, generative AI tools, and all of these new offerings are being built cloud first. They're not building that feature parity on premise. So it becomes a conversation around, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when.
From Aderant, this is Studio A, the podcast that helps legal professionals like you stay on top of trends and solutions that keep your law firm thriving. Welcome to Studio A, powered by Aderant, your podcast for the latest conversations shaping legal tech. My name is Will Ayers, and I am here today speaking to Chief Information and Security Officer of Hunton Andrews Kurth, Mr. Andrew DeBratto. How are you doing today?
I'm doing wonderful, Will. Thank you for having me.
I love getting thought leaders from law firms on the show to talk all things innovation. And I heard you guys are doing some pretty special things over at your law firm. So I wanted to jump in and get you on the show. Are you ready to do this?
Let's do it.
Okay. Tell us a little bit more about your firm. I know that you guys are a large organization. Just tell our listeners a little bit more about your firm.
Yeah, we're a G100 or AmLaw 100 firm. We have a global presence. We have offices around the world. Roughly about 1,800 people in the firm. There's about 90 of us within information technology. Like I said, 20 offices that we support around the world.
Now, in today's industry, technology is moving very fast. It's evolving very fast. It's a rapid, energetic time for innovation. As one of the leaders at your law firm that's over the decision-making for adopting new technology, what's your approach to innovation?
Yeah, innovation is a very important part of what we deliver, but it's always secondary to the blocking and the tackling, keeping the lights on, keeping the attorneys billing and functional, right? Until we achieve that, we're really not talking about innovation. Once we achieve that, and we feel like we do a pretty good job of the blocking and tackling and nailing the basics, then it's really looking at where we want to go as an organization and trying to look 2, 3, 5 years down the road. IT changes so quickly that even looking 2 years out is a really difficult proposition. A few years back, I put together a 5-year plan, and that plan really centered around getting out of the data center and getting rid of some of the low value work of our data center's 2 hours away. So, sending someone up there to replace a hard drive or rack and stack a server. And really that centered on getting to cloud first and cloud hosted platforms. And then around the corner comes OpenAI and they release ChatGPT, and it changes the entire conversation and the entire paradigm of what we're working on. So the innovation sometimes comes by force, a new tool like generative AI, or sometimes it's a slow progression into a cloud service.
Now, you mentioned OpenAI, and as, of course, artificial intelligence is the topic across all business verticals, I would say. What role does AI play in your current operations at your firm, and where do you see it going within the next 12 to 18 months? Because it seems like things are just moving super fast right now.
Yeah, they're moving almost too fast. One of the things I think we all are suffering from is a little bit of fatigue and a bit of rubbernecking. There's so many different tools, and there's only so many cycles that we can take away from our lawyers to get their eyes on these different tools. But there's not a week that goes by that I'm not in 2, 3, 5 conversations, whether it be internal or with our clients, talking about what our AI program is or what our strategy is. To that point, we're looking across all aspects of the firm and what we do. Realistically, there's more opportunity right now on the staff side, business development, what's going on in finance, how we use the tools within IT, because we can really force change there a bit more easily than we can on the legal side. But at the same time, we don't want to lose sight of the force multipliers or the potential that exists on the legal side. So we're taking multiple tracks. We're building tools internally on our own platforms, and we're looking at best of breed, both platforms and point solutions. What I'm seeing kind of starting to take shape now is moving more towards individualized point solutions that service a specific need for a specific practice or team.
You mentioned cloud earlier in one of your answers. That's a huge topic as well. As always, it seems like AI and cloud are kind of moving simultaneously together. Can you share your experience as a leader and as an organization as you guys move into the cloud? Because that's a process in itself.
It is. And I like to sort of champion our organization as being very cloud friendly. You know, even in the early days, there were times where we had our Microsoft reps coming to us, asking us to talk to other firms. How did you get into Office 365, Exchange Online? Other firms are telling us they just can't do it. Their clients won't allow them to do it. So we have always taken a very cloud friendly stance. I came up as an Exchange administrator, Active Directory administrator, and I was constantly having this conversation with my predecessor about Exchange Online. And as someone who was the Exchange administrator, there's some fear there of giving up that control, giving up the control of that system. And I see that today still with moving iManage to the cloud, moving Aderant to the cloud, or the DMS, you know, any of these tools. There's a fear of loss of control. The conversation I used to have with my predecessor was, do you think we can do it better than Microsoft? Do you think we can build that redundancy? And do you think we can afford to build the level of redundancy and business continuity that we really want? Now what we're seeing happening is feature parity is no longer possible. All of these new AI, generative AI tools, and all of these new offerings are being built cloud first. And our vendors, our document management system vendors, you know, you name the segment, they're not building that feature parity on premise. So it becomes a conversation around, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when.
Are legacy systems slowing you down? Meet the firms that broke free. In this exclusive client roundtable, hear firsthand from Aderant clients as they reveal how Expert Sierra transformed their operations, from migration milestones to measurable wins. If you're ready to accelerate your revenue cycle and unify your front and back office, this is your roadmap to a smarter practice. Head to the webinar's on-demand section at aderant.com and watch why firms are hitching their wagon to Expert Sierra today.
You mentioned Aderant. You are on the Sierra platform. What were some of the key drivers to move to an Aderant cloud solution?
So as part of that 5-year plan that I had always pictured Aderant being the last product we moved to the cloud. The internal plumbing and the functionality around it, it offered a lot of complexities that we weren't quite sure how we would get there. But really credit to our finance team and our CFO. Our finance team had attended Aderant's conference, had come back with some recommendations from Aderant's people saying, hey, we're ready for you. Like, we know you as a business. We know you as a business partner. And we feel like now we are ready for the complexity that you and your firm bring to move into Sierra. So after having conversations with our account team, our CFO, our internal stakeholders, we felt like we had a real opportunity here to be a leader in this. I think arguably we're the first AmLaw 100 firm to move into Sierra. And I've been having conversations with other firms. But really, it was truly that partnership with Aderant, where Aderant came to us and said, we're ready for you. And as we did our due diligence, we felt like, yeah, we have a window of opportunity here to make this happen. And that really changed our entire 5-year plan. Because as I said, I had always seen Aderant as being the last thing that we were going to move. And now it had hyper accelerated that.
Now, data is one of the key components of any type of platform that involves cloud or AI, but that also requires a robust strategy around compliance and security. What's your approach to that?
Yeah, so internally we have obviously our general counsel, we have a compliance team, we have a vendor management team. And to a high degree, we really lean on them to do the due diligence around the vendors. We go through a vendor assessment process. We look at what data is going to reside in these cloud systems. How long is it going to reside there? Is it a short-term thing? Is it perpetually? And we work with our internal team and that vendor to really assess their security readiness. Do they have the necessary credentials? Do they have the SOC 2 credentials? Do they have the paperwork? Do they have the processes that we feel comfortable with putting our data, our intellectual property, our clients' data into that system? And once we get that comfort level, then it becomes a little bit of a negotiation around what data we would put in there. There are vendors that we have assessed, and we've assessed that we can use some parts, but not all parts of their system because they don't maybe have the robustness. There is a little bit of a leap of faith there that the vendors are doing what they say they're doing. And we've had instances where we found out that really wasn't the case, where that vendor, in one specific instance, the vendor had gone offline, didn't really have any disaster recovery abilities, and we were out. We had a full-scale outage. Luckily, it was a small-scale system, so it wasn't super impactful. But there is a little bit of leap of faith that the vendors are doing the things that we expect them to do and to the level that we expect them to do it.
Now, you all are the clients of the vendors, but you have clients yourself as well that you serve on a daily basis. Can you discuss some ways that technologies improve that client experience for you all or for your clients?
Yeah, I think there's two paths to this. One, there's the path of, giving our attorneys who are servicing those clients the least amount of friction in their day to get their work done, right? The less that they're opening up IT tickets or dealing with IT issues, the more focused they are on just servicing that client. Secondary to that is partnering with those clients that have an interest in a kind of a technology partnership and offering them portals, data that we can expose externally that we feel comfortable doing. There's a lot of general counsel conversations that go on in these instances where, what are we comfortable exposing or what are we comfortable opening? But really with many clients, we have external portals where they can come in, they can look at, their work product. We can share information with them. We have portals where we are exposing to them data from the cases that we're working on with them so they can for themselves look at the information and start to absorb that before meeting with those legal teams.
Now, with all of this innovation taking place, I know our listeners, they want to know about how are you building or leveraging technology in a responsible way? But can you touch on the importance of that? Because that's a huge topic as well in the legal space.
Yeah, it's really a big topic right now, especially with generative AI. How are you doing it ethically and responsibly? We continue to see news stories pop up where information is submitted to a court or courts themselves are using output from ChatGPT or various tools that are found to be not based in fact, hallucinations. One of the things that we do before we give anybody access to any of our generative AI tools is they go through a ethics and expected use kind of responsibilities training session. This was developed in partnership with our general counsel and really hits high points around what are your responsibilities to the client? What are our responsibilities as the users of these tools to really understand how the tools work? And what are our responsibilities around really the final output, which is always having a human in the loop, signing off on that work product that this is in fact factual.
Now, before we close, I think the legal industry is very interesting because there are different generations that are at law firms. And there are some legal professionals that may be very accustomed to using innovative technology. And then there are others that are more accustomed or prefer the traditional workflows. What's your approach to kind of tackling that challenge, since there is a mix of generations at your law firm?
It is an interesting challenge. And as we see new generations coming in that have grown up with technology and grown up with iPads. And I was just having this conversation with some others about my daughter using generative AI as a debate tool and, what her future is going to be like. These are challenges that every CIO faces, and you have to find your opportunities. You have to find your champions, and you have to find those pockets of people who are willing to take on the learning and the engagement that comes with learning a new technology. And then they end up being the ones who help you organically grow that within their teams, because they start to champion it within their practices or within their teams, showing their peers. And that's what we find goes a long way. If you can find a peer who is having a success with a tool or a workflow, and to use that as the catalyst for continuing that conversation with others who may not be as open to changing their workflow.
Well, Andrew, I would love to have you on the show again, because I think your perspective provides so much value to our listeners. I'm pretty sure there are a lot of CIOs and people in the same position that you are that are really evaluating technology right now, trying to make that decision. And I think this conversation definitely shines a light on that. But I would love for you to stop by again so we can continue the conversation, because I think there's a lot of insight that needs to be provided across the legal space. So thank you.
It'd be an honor and a pleasure to be on anytime you want me.
Got you. I'm going to hold you to that.
All right, well.
You've been tuned in to Studio A, powered by Aderant, your podcast for all of the latest legal tech conversations shaping the industry. For more, check us out on all major streaming platforms. You've been tuned in to Studio A.
Thanks for listening to Studio A. For more from this episode, visit Aderant.com. Be sure to subscribe so you never miss a beat, and we'll see you next time in Studio A.